maybe. There we go.
We
All right,
should
guys.
probably put together a little snippet of that first like 30 seconds of every show when we're like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet?
Oh man, that's a great idea. Like 10 or 15 seconds and nothing but burnouts. What do you guys think? Let us know. Hit the comments. Say, hey, yeah, we want burnouts for the first 12 seconds of the show. All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to episode 88 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Episode 88 is going to be a big one. Big one. We got 4 guests on here. We have Jay Blanchard and John sitting live in the J-Wire Solutions facility. They're going to be talking about a twin TorkStorm Supercharged car with twin blow-off valves and a wastegate on the cold side. It blows my mind. We talked about it a little bit in episode 87. He's on here to explain kind of how that works and all that. And then we're going to release another round of the Drag and Drive Awards, who's getting what at PRI. And then we're going to have Josh Rich and Mike Smith on to talk about their experience of being complete strangers that met and competed at SICK 66 Drag and Drive a few weeks ago. Mr. Eric White, will you hit that intro video? Let's do this thing, man.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road, try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Again, welcome to episode 88 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. My name is Mike Narks. I'm the host of the Drag Drive Repeat Show and news. Your 3 hours of news and entertainment from the Drag and Drive community every week, right here, wherever you're watching this. And my right-hand man, my co-host, Mr. Eric White, introduce yourself and tell them what you got going on, dude.
Yeah, I am Eric White, the co-host of both the show and the news. And like you mentioned, right-hand man, which means I do a little bit of everything around drag, drive, repeat, help out with the circuit, help out with those that are watching with events that you guys put on, do artwork, video editing, photo editing, taking photos, literally. RHM means whatever needs to be done is kind of what I'm doing. So before we kick off completely, I need to give a shout out to my wife for putting up with me for 19 years as of today. So
Man.
I know she's going back to work for a little bit tonight to take care of some things. So if you're listening, thank you for putting up with me. I haven't had a car for 19 years. I think she's the only thing I've kept that long.
Well, hey, listen, when you find something good, you got to hold on to that thing, right?
Yep, that's right.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, 19 years, man, that's cool. And that's how long you been married? How long y'all been dating? What's the 19 years there?
Yep, 19 years is how long we've been dating. We've been married for 11, so it was
Man,
it took a little bit to get to
that's
that
all right.
point, but
She wasn't going anywhere.
that's right.
She knew what she had. That's awesome. Well, guys, you know how this works, man. We need loving, supporting wives like Eric's. We appreciate you, Rachel. You're awesome. And then we need race car friends, man. They make this whole world go round. The shares, the likes, the comments, all that kind of stuff. You guys really drive a lot of interaction for us, and we appreciate that from you guys out there in the world of the Drag and Drive community. And then we also appreciate our sponsors, man. The PRI Awards show wouldn't be possible without these sponsors that are all listed right here. You know, the travels we do, the 14 events we go to a year, all that kind of stuff wouldn't be available without them. So thank you to Summit Racing. Thank you to Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, who's going to be on here in just a little bit, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Y'all listen, can't do without all of those. And Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968. I don't know if you knew that, almost 60 years ago, as a one-man startup, and is now the world speed shop with 4 facilities, huge facilities, and 200 plus catalog editions. Great catalog editions. I feel like Trump when I just keep repeating that stuff. They feel your passion, they save you money, they deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. The fan right in my mouth here. And then you can find them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. They do a great job on social media, but you can also find them on the On All Cylinders podcast and website for more automotive discussions, kind of like what we got here. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. Find all your stuff, everything you need, OEM parts, aftermarket parts, everything at summitracing.com.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Let's talk about fun stuff because Mr. Derek Putnam's been cranking out some amazing articles, and our boy Tommy Dupree was kind of a featured guest the other day on one of Derek's SICTA magazine articles. And so basically, Tommy was talking to Derek about how he's followed Drag Week since the beginning, but it wasn't until 2021 that he actually raced the vehicle himself. I thought that was pretty wild. 05 to 2021. That's a long time, man. And I wonder if that's kind of what we're seeing right now is those guys that have followed it for a while that had other life obligations are now old enough or have enough free time to where they can go, hey, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go out and race. So Tommy was one of the major driving forces for Summit to get involved in the drag and drive community. And ultimately, he puts a lot of the scheduling together of that big truck that's in the back of that shot right there to get to events. He told me one time they do 51 events a year.
Yeah.
Dude, there's only wild. 52 weekends.
Right.
So pretty wild logistics type job there to make sure that the truck is where it needs to be and all that kind of stuff. And then he was telling Derek in this article, it says, our only downfall is not enough time and staff to be everywhere. However, the drag and drive community has shown us how much they appreciate us, and we've helped out a lot of people at events. I know I've seen it firsthand. You've seen it firsthand. There's always a line at the Summit truck trying to get little parts and big parts. He said, because of that, we purchased a second coach to do parts and events. So that will give us a little more freedom to do more events. You hear that? More events. So next year, we'll be able to do 6 Summer and a Rocky Mountain Race Week Mega Week. I'm so excited about that. He said, we enjoy being a part of the drag and drive community. And as enthusiasts, because they race also, we look forward to being part of as many events as possible in 2025. Dude, this is a big deal. Summit being at events is huge for everybody because not only do they have little small fuses or a small fuel pump or a big fuel pump, they carry all that kind of stuff. But dude, helmets. He said they sold out all 15 helmets at Sick Week. Because what happens is people show up down there and their helmet is out of date or it's not, regulated to that level anymore, or it wasn't even that in the beginning. We've seen so many people show up with motorcycle helmets.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Summit. We love those guys. Jim is a great dude. Chris, the intern Chris, who's not an intern at all. He's a high up dude. He does really cool stuff, but he jumped in the car with us on Drag Week and drove and took photos and roller videos and all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to Chris and the whole team at Summit, Kevin, Alec, who do events, Jim and Tommy, all that stuff. They really help a ton. And them being at Mega Week is going to be great because it'll be one of the first times outside of Motion Raceworks that a company like that has been on site with a bunch of parts and products and all that kind of cool stuff. So I'm excited about that.
Yep. Tommy here saying, thanks, guys. The community is awesome.
Yeah, I say it all the time. The Drag and Drive community is the best community out there of anybody any community I've ever been a part of. They're the best for sure. Well, the new truck, I know it's not already tagged up and stuff like this one here, but dude, somebody took a banging roller of the Summit.
That was a ton of fun. We couldn't pass up that opportunity to get some rollers of the Summit truck heading down the highway.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, that's on the Hot Rod Drag Week 2024 Day 2 album.
I think Day 3.
Yeah, Day 3 because we were at Martin. Yep, man, great stuff there. A lot of photos in that, more than probably more than 4,000 or 5,000 photos you posted already from Drag Week.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know what the number is, but it's been a ton.
yeah, and a few more days left. All right, well, guys, listen. I know I'm not wearing a Drag Driver Pete hoodie like my boy Eric is, but I am wearing a Central Victorian Drag and Drive hoodie. Big shout out to Dave Curtis. But you can pick up your hoodie and your t-shirts right there at summitracing.com. There's more parts and products that are coming for the summitracing.com stuff for Drag Driver Pete. So I'm excited to see what the next few months bring. And again, this is super cool of them to do that. I really appreciate them doing that. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about some Drag Driver Pete stuff, because your boy's been working really hard on national level event stuff to get like the top 100 and to get really the Drag and Drive World Champion points put together. That's really taken a ton of my time the last 10 days probably. So I've been spending a lot of time on that. That will all be coming out as we get closer to PRI. We've been posting a few things, talking about a few things, obviously here on the show, but then also on the website. So if you're not on the Daily Dose over there, you need to do that for dragdriverpete.com. But I thought we would kind of go tonight, really kind of fun, just quickly, 2024 recap, talk about some national level events, and just kind of show people how much this community has grown just in the single year that we really kind of dove into this in 2023, hard and heavy, collecting everything. 2024 is absolutely intense. 10 cars in the sixes, crazy number in the quarter mile, and then that's up from 7 in 2023. So 150% basically increase in 6-second cars. Now, 2 of those 10, really 4 of those 10 are Bryant Goldstone. And then 2 more are Alex Taylor. So
Yeah.
6 of the 10 are 2 people. So congratulations to them. But more than 2,700 racers. And by my math, I don't have the Southeast Street Meet stuff, but we're looking at more than 2,300 unique racers, which
Man.
means there's a ton of people. More than 100 racers have done 3 events or more.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
without the
crazy.
data from Southeast Street Meet. So we may be looking at more. I know there were Jesse Fox said there were like 180 people that competed at Southeast Street Meet. So if just half of those were returning folks, I mean, you're looking, we could have 150 people that did 3 national events or more. That's a whole week off of work, dude.
Right.
A whole week each time. Crazy. And then Bryant Goldstone, 5 events for the year, national level events for the year. As of right now, again, I don't have the Street Meet stuff yet, but Dustin Cottle, Jay Grabiak, Mike Turner, and Randy Seward look like some of the ones that have done 4 events for 2024. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think we had that many people last year.
No, I'll have to take a look and see the I'm adding all of the regional data that is in relation to how we track drag and drive events. So I'm adding all of that together now, and I'll have like a full comprehensive breakdown for when we get to PRI for numbers like that, because that's the big thing, right? So as racers, as people that are going out looking for sponsors, these are things you can tell them. So we'll put together like a full report that'll show how many cars, how many numbers, how many events, all that kind of stuff, how many tracks were visited. By my math, 97 tracks visited in 2024. Dude, drag and drive is helping save drag racing. I'm telling you.
97 tracks is crazy.
It's pretty awesome. So again, lots of data to do. One thing that is a huge struggle that I run into is the hours and hours and hours. I probably have hundreds of hours, if not 1,000 hours, in just manipulating, moving stuff around, making sure that somebody doesn't put a whole bunch of merged cells randomly in there, and that screws me up. So there's a lot of time spent on that hopefully we can fix some of that, especially in smaller or regional events, because those guys typically, they don't know what to collect, right? They just don't know what to collect. So that's on us to help them figure out, one, how we need it to make it easier on us so we can get more data out. But then 2, how it makes it better for them and formulas and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, we're working on all that, and that'll come after PRI. But thought that was pretty awesome stuff. 100 racers, dude, more than 3, like that's 300 cars cruising around for more than a week, more than 3 weeks at a time on national level events.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I can't wait to add in the regional stuff and the racers there and see, racers with 5 and 6, and like Dustin Cottle last year did 8 events. He's crazy. All right, well, let's talk about the circuit, because obviously the regional event we host is a big deal to us. This is a picture from last year that I just laid the new logo over, because I'm creating a new one, because literally 3:00 today, great apparel printing and design, Karen and the team, if they're signed up to do the scavenger hunt again, they're going to be the scavenger hunt sponsors for this. This is awesome. They also do our shirts and things for the event, but this is really cool. So the scavenger hunt is back, and for folks that are outside of the circuit that don't know what the scavenger hunt is, it's exactly what it sounds like. We give you a list of like 80 to 90 items, and you've got to go find as many as you can. And so the Odoms and the Roberts, Josh and Danny Odom, and then Brandy and Aaron Roberts, both tied last year, like 800 points. I don't know what the final 800 or 805 or something like that. Well, I made it a mission to put almost all new items on the list this year. So we'll see how creative they can get this year. But essentially, you'll get a list. What's really cool about the way we do the scavenger hunt is you don't get the scavenger hunt list until you turn your time slips in on Saturday. And then you've got 130, 140 miles to collect as many points as possible by 7:00, because that's when we're going to do the awards at the racer party on Saturday night. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. Do you want to make your 2 passes on Saturday early, get your list early, and then go get your points? Or do you want to hang back and get your time, because your time is more important to you, your ET is more important to you, and then just rush through the thing? It's pretty cool. So we give 500 to the winner and 250 to the second place person. So
and it's super competitive. So if you're gonna go in, you better go all in.
Yeah, we had 20 teams last year, 20-ish teams last year, and I think most everybody was like in that 400 to 450, and then these two, they got their sheets early and just hammered it out, man. They were going pretty wild. It was awesome. So again, the circuit in just a few months here, we're looking at like 5 months, something around in there.
Yeah,
I'm not nervous at all. Are you nervous?
Nah,
I'm not nervous.
Nah, I'm good.
Not at all. Well, let's keep rolling, man. Lead us into the Driven Racing Oil event updates, please.
Yep. Driven Racing Oil is the performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application, whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing limits in top field drag boats and demo derbies. Winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cling and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil, then enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance. And as you guys know, you can follow Driven Racing Oil on Facebook and Instagram, or you can head over to drivenracingoil.com, pick up your oil and your swag.
Yeah. And Paul Snyder, you can shut up, sir.
I figured that was a perfect time to pull that one up.
And hey, I've been running through 18 minutes straight. I think I talked there. Well, talk to us about this here, man.
Yep. So Mike Mayo posted in the Battle of the Streets. He asked how many racers wanted to run the event next year, averages or heads up, eliminations, and add index classes. Answers were, all over the place on that. The consensus seemed to us that folks definitely want a drive and they want to race heads up, which makes it a true street event.
Yeah, that's kind of the struggle I had with reading all of it. Everybody was like, we love the drive, but we really want heads up elimination stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 30 miles. That literally turns it into a true street event, not a drag and drive. But hey, whatever anybody wants to call their stuff, they can do that. We don't relegate that over here. But pretty, I would say there were like 70 comments in that post, and pretty interesting. So good reads there. I think some folks, as we get into drag and drive, they maybe miss the point of a drag and drive. It's to spend more time on the road and things like that. But I did like a lot of people were saying they didn't, leave the trailer somewhere else and drive to the track. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and again, this can be kind of a feeder to some of the,
Mhm.
one day event to a regional event to a national event. So
Yep.
the concept of it's good. It's just that struggle of how do you classify it as a drag and drive or not. And
Yep. Yeah, that would be the hard part for a single day event. We'd love to see some racing in the morning and then driving somewhere for a checkpoint and then racing in the afternoon. That'd be really cool. I don't know how long test and tunes are open everywhere else, but you could probably do that at Tulsa. It'd be pretty close. Well, let's talk about the last events for 2024, man. This is it's pretty wild.
winding down.
Dude, 2 more events left in the year. It's crazy. So the Road Trip Drag Challenge in Australia, it's their last event of the year, man. This is
Yeah.
number 3. So November 15th through 17th, that's this weekend. They start in 2 days. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's wild to think that, man, I feel like we just left PRI last year and here we
Yeah.
are in end of or mid-November and talking about the last 2 events of the year.
Yep. And then Texas Cruise and Chill. Finally, man, I'm so excited to see these guys get this event off. Fingers crossed. XRP, Texas Motorplex, and Houston Motorsports Park or something like that. December 12th through 14th will be at PRI. But for the folks that aren't going to PRI and want to do something, this is going to be a good event, like 500 and something miles. This is going to be a fun one right here. 3
Yep.
tracks, 3 days. So it should be a good experience.
Yep. Destroyer 1320 jumping in here. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy.
All right. So the last event for the year is going to be, for us anyways, PRI. Again, guys, booth 4904. Make sure you either screenshot this or download the PRI app and put in there booth 4904. Make sure you guys come by, say hi, pick up the one-off cartoon head stickers of Mike and I. There's only limited number of them, so probably roughly 100 per day. So want to make sure you get those.
I'm live, Paul. I can't talk to you, sir. We're live right here.
So again, 4904. Make sure you come by the booth, say hi. We'll be right by the food booth, so you guys can grab some food, come hang out. We're going to be heckling people the entire time. So if anybody is standing in that line, by the time they get their food, they're going to know what a drag and drive is, I promise.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
And then, our big thing here is the Drag and Drive Awards. So that is going to be presented by Summit Racing Thursday morning, 11 a.m., room number 241. So make sure you guys are there before 11 a.m. So we kick off that show. And again, it's going to be an awesome hour-ish long of giving awards away. We are going to live stream it for those that aren't able to be there. But please, if you are at PRI, and you're going to be there Thursday morning, please come by and hang out and watch the Drag and Drive Awards show put on by Summit Racing.
Yeah, I'm pumped about this. We were talking right before the show, talking about the awards and the whole. Well, there's an award in there that we're conversating about, so it's going to be a great time. Let's talk about the first 3 events of 2025. Live calls during the show. Yeah, we're not taking calls during the show. Yeah, so Sick Week 2025 going to be January 27th through February 1st. This is going to be one of the first times we've seen like an event start on Monday, end on a Saturday. So this should be a good one right here.
Yeah, I kind of like that, the idea of that. That gives people that work Monday through Friday that maybe can't get off a day to come and watch the final day. Everybody,
Yep.
Putting their stuff on the line, hero passes, and hopefully that'll bring in more spectators, ending
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then Kakalaki Run is going to be in Darlington, March 24th through 29th. This is a brand new event for 2025, put on by longtime drag and drive racers. This is going to be, obviously, Darlington is in South Carolina. And so it's going to be around in that where I think you go to Virginia Motorsports Park. So it's a bit of a drive, but that part of the country is going to be gorgeous in March.
This whole live calls thing's got me cracking up.
Yeah, we're not doing those. I'll tell you right now, especially not from Paul Snyder. And then, of course, the next event, the Circuit 2025, April 3rd through 6th there at Tulsa Raceway Park. The reason I bring this up is because if you think about it, that is literally January, February, March, and the first part of April. So really 3 months, and there's 3 events. This is a change. I know Sick Week is huge in the Southeast and in Georgia and Florida, but man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of opportunity there, I think, for some regional events to move into the earlier part of the year instead of us trying to stack so many events in September and October. This would be a good time for folks to begin looking at that, but it's probably too late now to really begin your promotion for an event that's going to be, in the Southeast in January, February, or March, something like that. So I want to put up a map again sometime before the first of the year starts, once we have a few more events that will show locations and times or dates on that, just simply so people can see who is what and where and all that. You can find the full list at dragdriverpete.com/event list, but to see it on a map, it kind of shows the gaping holes that we have in the community. A lot of times the Southwest gets no love. California gets they get like 2 events now, finally. And thanks to Big Sky Race Week, finally something up in Montana, but there's not much in the Northeast. There's not much in the Southeast once you get away from Sick Week before you start into, like Southeast Street needs the end of the year, and Kakalaki Run will kind of help with some of that as well. So we have huge Junes and huge Septembers.
Yep.
Spread some of this out just a little bit. I don't know. Is there anything in May? Is there anything in May?
So, yeah, I'm sure there is, but
yeah. So anyways, all right, well, cool. Well, that's some of the events. We gotta get rolling. I told Jay and John we'd be on by 30 after, and we're not there yet.
Just getting close. 2 minutes. All right, you hitting this one?
Yep. Says Carl will be there. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was reading the
yeah, we still need to get Burned Down and War Performance on board with an event in Southern California.
Agreed. Well, Molly Motorsports here. Attention high performance enthusiasts and racers. Meet the Molly Motorsport Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for Power Pack performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. What sets Molly apart? Forged pistons, graphol coating, and phosphate treatments for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsport, where performance meets precision. You can visit mollymotorsport.com for more details. And for the podcast listeners and everybody else out there, Molly is spelled Mahle when you're doing that search.
Yes, sir. All right. This was a super cool post by Anthony Harville. He said, "This is what racing and drag and drive is all about. Friends from across the country coming together and sharing stories around a circle. The circle just happens to have a fire." Everyone pulled into the last track after doing streetcar stuff while trying to kill their car at every track we drive to. Awesome drives and even better fellowship. I don't want this event to end, but absolutely can't wait until we meet at the next event. I mean, that really sums it up very well, which is why we're doing the camping deal at the circuit.
Yep. Yeah, this is exactly what I envisioned for the camp counselor, Robert Voss out here. This is what I envision, is a group of people around a fire, hanging out, telling stories from the day or the week or life, whatever, and just having a good time before they go and crash out for the night.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and one more thing here before we jump into Jay. We are going through and looking for someone to give the Molly Motorsports Toughest Roadside Repair Award to. So we're looking for nominees. We want to hear from you guys who you think had the toughest roadside repair in 2024. We have a form on the website and can't wait to hear who you guys are putting in for nominations. We'll be announcing the winners at the Drag and Drive Awards show presented by Summit Racing at PRI 2024. So Mike just dropped that link in the chat. So if you have somebody you want to nominate, click that link, send your nomination in, and we look forward to seeing who ends up taking this award this year.
Yeah, we know we've had a bunch of nominations in the past, and I think Kyle from Miles of Mayhem won it last year. And so, you see the tailgate and the bed of this truck here. This is one of the nominations already. Is the guy that was with the deals. This was crazy right here. So, it's not based on vote numbers or quantity. It really comes down to we'll take all of the nominations and then we'll sift through them and look at all the stuff. So appreciate you guys putting that in there. When you can do that, dragdriverepeat.com/daily dose, and then go into the toughest roadside repair nomination. Should be the first article you're seeing right after this airs. All right, let's do this. Let's talk about J-Wire Solutions, because they are expert car and marine wiring solutions you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, or your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience better, like my favorite, the blinker module that is a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied just like it would if it was stock. So that's what our boy Jay Blanchard at J-Wire Solutions does. He's on tonight again to talk about this dual wastegate, or this wastegate / blow off valve / twin supercharged deal that is way over my head. But the cool thing is he also has the car owner with him. So let's go ahead. We'll bring those guys on right now and let you guys introduce yourselves.
You first? Not now?
Yep, do it. You're on.
Hi, my name is Jay from J-Wire Solutions. I know we're going to talk quite a bit about the car behind me, new shop. We got a lot of stuff going on, but I'll let John introduce himself. So,
my name is John Mayer. Met Jay through a couple different races and with Brian, and ended up bringing this car out here to him to get some EFI stuff down on it, and rolled into a few more things along the way.
He went to Sick Week in 2023, and he's like, this is really cool. I need to do this.
Right. A little more time in the seat than just, going to the track and making passes.
Absolutely.
Well, again, it's what we talk about all the time. There's a lot of guys that will make this trip, will make more passes during a drag and drive than they will all year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in building a car that's capable of putting more street miles on it and building the reliability in it. I mean, he was here last night working on some stuff, and he's like, I'm excited to just get in it and drive it next year.
Right.
And we'll talk more about the car, but we're converting it from, a nitrous combination with race gas to E85. I mean, he was paying $25 a gallon for fuel, and now he's paying like $2.80 a gallon. I'm like, drive the heck out of it, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and pull into the pump and fill it up and all that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to stay on Jay first. So, Jay, how's the new space? How much do you love it?
A lot. So for anybody that follows my Facebook page, we moved October 1st into a space that's 4 times the size of where we were at. Last week we had 7 cars either in or on the property.
Wow.
So it's crazy. And so we have, like, to my left, I've got a car that's waiting on a connector and it will be done. And we have another truck over here. It's a Factory 5 35 Ford truck. We have John's car. I have a 63 Corvette on the other side of the wall that's been done for about a week and a half, waiting to go to Jordan Sontag's shop. I've got a Nova getting dropped off this weekend. That's a methanol turbo Nova. I know a thing or two about Novas, so that's kind of exciting. We've got some projects coming from out of Ohio, like a F3 Pro Charge, big block, small tire car. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline, and online sales are increasing, so that's great. So it's exciting.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome and well-deserved, man. You've worked your butt off for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things people should be looking at for their winter upgrades?
Like the narrow-minded me says, like, go to my website and buy everything you can. But no, what we've been trying to do is we've tried to like tap into some niche things that, I mean, wiring scares people. My friend Andrew Barrett is like, that would be great. I'm like, you really think that would sell? And he's like, wiring scares people, you know? So you guys have mentioned the blinker priority module a lot. So that's been moving fairly decent as of late. And it's a great option because it adds a horn button. It gets your blinkers working the way they're supposed to. I have yet to do a video about it, but I probably should. John's car's outfitted with one. I think we've sold 5 of them in like the last like 2 weeks.
Nice.
So that's awesome. And then a week and a half or so ago, we came out with a product that's got like a large relay on it with fusing capability. You know, going back into like the wiring scares people. I mean, a lot of times people get to the end of the season, they're like, all right, my stuff's not broken. Like, what can I do? You want to upgrade to like IGN-1A coils from like a stock coil, like on an LS application, or you're looking at doing a bigger fuel pump. And a lot of times, well, I'll stick kind of in my lane with Holley. You got a 30 amp relay that's set up to run your fuel pump, run your injectors, and run your coils. It's just not enough, right? And so as we really talk about drag and drive and what it is, the need for reliability, you know, it should be a very high priority thing for you. And so we put that together. Like I said, it's got a couple of large fuses in it and a smaller fuse, and it's got a 70 amp relay, and it's got the appropriate wire gauge and all that kind of stuff. And the price point escapes me, but again, it's something that you can pick up. It's kind of an all-in-one package. And so that's great. As far as
I love the
go.
Right. And I love the packaging on that. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. It was just simply about how much easier that would be. Because that green wire that comes off of the Holley setup, there's so many pumps that are run on that. Dude, I can't imagine the level of heat that little wire is building based on that.
Yeah, and what you can do, like with that module specifically, the green wire, you can use to turn on the secondary relay, or if you want to go like right out of pin A2, which is actually what turns that green wire on, you can do that also.
That's awesome.
You know, you're kind of the green wire is like, oh, this relay can fail, and then it's not going to turn the other relay on, so you've got a little bit of thanks, Rob. You've got a little bit of like redundancy from a failure perspective, but the same deal is like, I mean, I go back to like, and maybe it doesn't scare me because I do it every day, but like wiring scares people. And so if we can come up with solutions that, you know, help people out, then that's great. We have like a wiring adapter harness that Holley doesn't make. So if you're looking at like an FID 2200 injector that's based on like the Denso package, then like nobody has I shouldn't say nobody, like there's companies out there that make a harness for that's like a direct plug-in. We've got them on our website too. Again, that's like an off-season upgrade. Someone might be looking at going from like 160 pound an hour injector to like that 210 or 220 pound an hour injector. Those are all upgrades. It's all building in reliability in your system. You might be switching from from gas to E85, and then you need that additional injector. And it's something that we have a solution for. Imagine that.
Right. That's dude, that's awesome. All right, John, enough of Jay's over our head stuff and scaring people with wiring. Tell us about this car, man.
It's I bought this car back in 2012, I think, and it started its life out when I bought it. It was like a bracket car down in Virginia somewhere. That's what I was told. Put a big block Chevy in it with nitrous, and the goal was to run 850s. And we went out there and we did that, and then I started doing a little bit of no prep stuff with it. It just wasn't fast enough for the no prep thing, so I quickly kind of turned my eyes towards driving it more, and the drag and drive stuff, and having Carl Stansel and Brian and Jay and some of these drag and drive guys kind of talking in your ear a little bit got me excited about it. So we ended up building this new engine. It's a 555 big block Chevy twin 84 TorkStorms, and just kind of a whole new combination. So to me, it's all new. I haven't had EFI before, so kind of relying on Jay and his group of professionals to kind of help us get that going. And the Go Fast Productions helped me with the chassis. all that stuff, put in different rear end in it, shocks, all the things that it's going to take to go fast. And yeah, it's been great. Whole top high performance, put the engine, did all the machine work for the engine, and Go Fast assembled it for me. So
nice. So what's some goals you have for the car?
I think my one goal is to complete a drag and drive, but something I can drive. I think we're going to be competing in the 850 class somewhere. I think that the potential to go faster is there. I think the horsepower goals are going to be, somewhere north of 1500. I think we can make it maybe a little bit farther than that, but I don't want to promise anything and get my hopes up. But we're thinking we could make it,
I was going to say, you're sitting next to one of the best. So I would say 850 be easy for that dude.
Yeah. I've been studying these guys for the last couple of years. So.
He's going to come out and put us to shame or something like that. And then Brian's going to start looking at me with pointing a finger at me like, what the heck?
Yeah,
just tell him.
Yeah.
Just tell him you got an open bay. You'll get him in.
He'll just tell me to drive to his house. That's generally how it happens. But.
Yeah. So I know you kind of mentioned some names when you were talking about the powertrain, but what are some of the sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
One of them is Go Fast Productions. They do roll cages, chassis work. He's got years and years of drag racing experience. He's helped me out, and he's helped all kinds of people get into drag racing. A lot of big block nitro stuff through them, which Jimmer Klein, he's awesome at it. TorkStorm Superchargers. I went looking for a new power adder and went talking to them, and they kind of helped me out a little bit on this thing. And it's been a fun project. I've never had a supercharged or boosted application before, so it's something new to me. So again, relying on the folks who have done this before and had experience. Whole top high performance, all the machine work, and he's done a great job for us. He's fast. He gets stuff in and done. Very professional. Jay Wire, of course, we bought a lot of the products and taken a lot of his recommendations, and it's really turning out sweet. If you guys could see some of the wiring that is in this car and how it looks and how it's laid out, it's pretty phenomenal. I'm pretty excited about it. And then Perfect Automotive, they supply a lot of parts to us, little pieces. They come through in clutch situations when you need something. They seem to have it. So
that's awesome.
And what's awesome about this contingent is like they're all Grand Rapids based,
Yes.
West Michigan based people.
Oh,
and
cool.
So to me it's really awesome because like I feel like we have this little like cradle of performance. As you mentioned, like Jimmer's been doing chassis work and big block nitro stuff and small block nitro stuff for that matter for a long time. And he's just a wealth of knowledge. He's been over checking out this car a couple times and we've bounced ideas off each other, and I don't think this is going to work. And he's like, oh yeah, well, if you tweak on this or you do this right or whatever, so I'm like, and it's like, you got to be a sponge around him, because he's done so many things that, he's a long time, he's an 850 racer guy. He's like the feared 850 guy. Right, and I feel like we're like making inroads on that feared 850,
Nice.
but I feel like you show up and you're like, crap, Brian's there, Jimmer's there,
Right.
Mark McGill's there. Roger Wardell's there. Like now we have like these, we have 4 or 5 850 people, and I'm sure I'm leaving people off the list. I don't want to offend anybody, but you go to that and it's like, oh crud, 2 years ago, import versus domestic in the semifinals, we beat McGill. We went 850 with a 2 to McGill's 850 with a 3.
Oh,
that was the semifinal round, and it was like, and I think Jimmer, we beat him in the round prior, and we went like 851 and change, and Jimmer went 849 with a 7. He went under. You know what I mean? It's just like, so like the 850 cradle, and just like Go Fast people. Ironically enough, that's Jimmer's company's name, but like the cohort of people like in this West Michigan area that are doing like what I think is like really awesome work is really cool.
Well, and to have a group of that level of racer or that level of company close to you, dude, that's huge because you go somewhere else and you've got friends and you guys can beat up on everybody else.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the whole.
Yeah.
Well, John, last question here. Why that car? Why did you buy that? What's the story?
I think this car, I've always loved the 69 Chevelle. And some people say I have this passion for orange things, but the car was just something that just caught my eye, and I went out there looking for it, and it was it was in pretty decent shape body wise. Just bought it as a roller, and then it was just orange. And as it was getting the cage put in it, everybody's like, "What are you doing with the General Lee?" And it was just kind of funny that we're like, "All right," for a joke. I said, "Well, it's the General Motors, so it's not really General Lee." So that's kind of, we put the stickers on.
Nice.
And we went down to Brown County, and we had some fun down there racing, and everybody loved it, and the kids loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the roof, you didn't see it, but it's our American flag. This is General Motors. So we stuck a little magnetic antenna on the back. We had fun with it, but it kind of stuck, and everybody's like, "You can't paint that car." So it's kind of going to stay kind of the motif that it is, I guess.
How
it's
cool.
got patinaed orange about it.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
If you put any tape on it, the paint peels right up under the tape. So,
Yeah. I love patina.
I opt to put tape where there is no orange, so then I don't have to be like, John walks in and he's like, "Hey, there's less orange on the fenders." And I'd be like, no, not on my watch.
Not today. Well, let's get into the reason you're here, because we've got a few minutes of explanations here. Dude, when I saw this, it really blew my mind. So here's the thing, right? For folks that are watching this at home, the two black pieces that are on the cold side are blow-off valves, which is generally what will regulate your boost going into the engine. But what really tripped me up was this other port that's on here. And so, of course, I messaged Jay. He's like, "Oh, it's a wastegate." He had it posted on the J-Wire Solutions Facebook page that they were using a wastegate and controller to kind of really start dialing in the boost. So, of course, I messaged Jay, "What the heck is happening?" So, dude, kind of walk us through a little bit of this setup, and we'll get into why and how it works and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and not ramble. So my apologies if I do get rambly, but what I want to come out and say is what we're doing is not new. The application might be a little bit different than what other people have used it for, but it's not new. So Mark Mickey started working with Fuel Tech and Turbo Smart. This is a Turbo Smart product. So I know Mickey 2 years ago, I think, started working with Fuel Tech and Turbo Smart with their e-gate. And they're doing some things with exhaust energy and regulating charge pressure side with an electronic system. Eric Yost competed in Sick Week in 23, I think, won his class. And if you look at pictures under the hood of that car, he's got an e-gate on his as well. Mm-hmm. Devin has tested this with the CO2 option, which is what we have, not the e-gate, the CO2. Turbo Todd Moyer has been 345 at 230 something mile an hour to the eighth, and 514 at 270 something. And he's running, I believe, an electronic gate on the charge pipe side. And if you sneak some pictures of an orange Bickel Camaro from Evansville, Indiana, then you will also see that he has, can't go wrong with orange, you'll see that he has a wastegate installed on the charge pipe side. I've cleared that with Ryan, that I can talk about that, but it is clear as day in some of his pictures. So What we're doing isn't new. Maybe the application is a little bit different because we're working in a supercharged application, and everybody else has been working in a turbocharged application. So that's kind of circling back, because I don't want to take credit for being I'm the first person to do this. A lot of people have tried this already. I just think that we have an opportunity to add a piece of tuning into this vehicle with this. And so I don't know if you want to ask me a question, Mike, or if you want me to kind of keep rambling. But
so real quick. So a lot of times when they use the e-gate, there's no wastegate on the exhaust side, right? Is that
right, which is kind of what we have. We have no wastegate on the exhaust side because we just have exhaust, right? We have belt-driven superchargers that are going to make a boost at an RPM, much like a turbo application is going to do with no wastegate on the exhaust side. It's going to make a boost at an RPM.
And so, again, just like you're saying, we've seen this before, and I understand it. I understood it from that side, but this caught me off guard simply because there are also blow-off valves that you typically see with that. And that's kind of where our conversation really started from there.
Yeah, so the blow-off valve is really as a protecting device for the throttle blade.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you close the throttle blade, you create vacuum on the backside as the engine is trying to suck through the throttle blade, and you have a surplus of boost on the front side. And so what it's going to do is it's going to pop the blow-off valves open. So the blow-off valve is still there as a protection device. The way that my intended strategy to run this is it should function just like a blow-off valve, but I didn't want to bend up a throttle blade on a Motion Raceworks throttle body like the first time that John sidesteps the throttle, and we try and pack 35 or 40 pounds of boost through a throttle blade that's closed. Yeah. It didn't sound like a cool project. So those are TorkStorm blow-off valves you see there. That's provided with their kit. And like all machined in Grand Rapids, so I'm going to give them a little plug because like all the stuff you see in that picture is machined in Grand Rapids, which is really cool. Yep. Scott and the team, Chris over there, like this is what they do is build superchargers. It's really cool. So,
and so the 88, you said 88 or 84? 84. Yeah. So I guess you would need that size of a supercharger to make that kind of power that you're looking for.
I mean, so twin 84s, I'm not sure. Like, I don't nerd out on the airflow numbers.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I know Scott has them on his big black Oldsmobile, and he's made 1900.
Yeah, so Scott's made 1900 with the same.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and I love the uniqueness that this will create with the twin superchargers.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead. You were talking about the blow-off valves and wastegates and
so the blow-off valves are going to do their job to protect the throttle blade and all that type of stuff, but really, like what's going to happen is, and I think I don't necessarily know the exact numbers, but if we want to leave with this car, say at 4,000 RPM, well, at 4,000 RPM, a certain amount of boost is going to be made, thus a certain amount of horsepower is going to be made. Well, so this device, this is the blow-off valve. I've taken it off this is the wastegate that I've taken off the car. This is a butterfly actuated valve. So like a traditional wastegate, like it acts like a valve, like an engine valve, where you have once it's open, you open beyond a certain level and you have like 100% flow. Well, by having a blade style in here, you get to the point where, and TurboSmart has the documentation. I should have like a little cheat sheet over here or something like that. But this stays within like 10% of linearity. So when you like crack this open 10%, it might flow like 8% through like the orifice size. Mm-hmm. You go to like 15%, it might go to 16%. You go to 25, it might be like 28. I believe like once you get past like about 90, it's going to flow pretty much all of the air through it that it would, but it stays very linear through the whole range. So now if we want to leave on 4,000 RPM and we want to leave on like 3 pounds of boost, like this is a controlled leak is what this is. Okay. And then I can change my controlled leak at any rate of ramp I want to based on trans brake release.
So, yeah. Well, and in the conversation, like the phone call you and I had was essentially like, obviously the blow-off valves would do this to a degree, but they're not able to be manipulated that's minute of a number, right? So like,
these particular blow-off valves don't have like a pressure port on the bottom side, so we couldn't control them to like per se open them. Right. Like I know JGS has a piston style gate, and I believe that there's some gates that TurboSport also makes. But again, that piston style, like you just don't have the linearity that you need. Mm-hmm. It's either like I'm venting or I'm not.
Wow.
And there's like this like window in between there where it's like, oh, this worked. It's like a narrowband O2 sensor.
Yeah.
Right. It works for this little bit of range, and that's a crappy little bit of range for it to work.
Well, and for a car that's going to be consistent, like, I mean, to run 850s, obviously, and in any kind of drag and drive class, you got to be right. But at the same time, like to create that consistency as you go to other events and other classes and things like that, you're not going to run it all out at all 15 or 1800 horsepower every time. So you need
the other option to control. Sorry to cut you off, Mike. The other option to control horsepower is to take timing out of it. So then what do? I take a 555 cubic inch engine that makes a boatload of torque, and I'm shoving a bunch of boost down its throat, and I retard the timing down to single digit timing, and I burn exhaust valves out of it. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
No, it doesn't.
So then it was like, how can we boost regulate this thing like we would a turbo application and then ramp the thing in, and then not necessarily have to worry. We can still pull timing if we need to. If we need like a very finite or something like that for an area like where the car wants to go into a wheelie, or we've got traction issues or something like that. But like beyond that, it's like let's regulate the boost pressure and then keep the exhaust valves in the thing, right? And then let's drive the reliability of the combination up by doing that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah,
that's
checks
why
a lot of
I'm here and
boxes.
explaining that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I dig it, man. That's why you're smarter than me, and I appreciate you explaining all that.
All right. So John, what's up next for the car?
Up next for the car, I think, is just getting it on the road. I'll probably have it at Drop the Hammer in the spring. Last year I was at Drop the Hammer as the announcer.
Nice.
So it was a good time. We had fun, and I think, I'd like to bring the car to that. Carl still wants me to announce. I said, we'll see. But, I think we'll just get out there and try to complete a drag and drive and just, feel the car out. There's a lot of testing. I'd like to do some of the SICK events, probably do SICK Week next year.
Nice.
Maybe not in January coming up in 25, but in 26.
Yeah.
But I'll try to do some local events. There's quite a few happening. SICK Michigan Miles is happening. I might see about jumping in on that. All kind of close to home. So if there is issues, we can have
Swing
somebody
your
help
J
bail us
shop
out.
and
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
we like joked. I mean, a couple, just share a couple more things about the car. And John, I was very humbled yesterday. John and I talked like till 6 o'clock in the shop last night, and he's like, I'm taking guidance from you. You've done a lot of events. These are the types of cars you build and stuff like that. And so I was very adamant about putting a monster radiator in this thing. So there's a company that John works with out of Grand Rapids. It's
A DNB heat transfer.
yeah. So they built a custom radiator for John's car. So the core itself is 32 inches wide, and we put dual like Chevy Silverado fans on it. They're PWM modulated fans, and so the intent is like, if I want to cool this thing down to 150 degrees on a 95-degree day, like I want the ability to do that. John wants the ability to be able to do that, and I put a joke out, kind of a haha meme or something like a year and a half ago, and it was like J-Wire Solutions is like putting ignition switches back in cars since 2022. And so John was a switch panel, ignition, start, arm nitrous, bottle heater, turn the water pump on, turn the fan on, and I'm proud to say John has a key in the dash again. And,
Wow.
and there's a box under the dash that's going to do all the thinking for him. So he
That's
literally
great.
can crack the CO2 bottle, and he can mat the gas and go run the thing down the track, or around town with the better fuel economy and the fuel prices and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, drive it to work, like
Yeah.
enjoy the hell out of it. That's the whole goal. Like for me with this stuff is like seeing happy customers that know they've got a turnkey car sitting in the driveway that they can go fire up and drive around the block, or take the kids out for ice cream or whatever they want to do with it. Or go beat up on their friends on the street or whatever it might be. But so we put a really big radiator in this. They, D&B took care of us on that. It's got big fans. We've done a lot of things to try and error-proof and overbuild. Again, with this, like, completing is not going to be the problem.
Yeah,
is the goal, of course. So
that is super cool. Well, I'm excited to see the car out and about. Drop the Hammer is definitely one of our short list events for 2025, just because we haven't been there, and I think it would be awesome to do that event. And I love Carl; he's a great dude.
Yep.
All right, we appreciate you coming on. 30 minutes isn't long enough. I realize that, and I just want to say thanks for hanging out and running through that so quickly. You guys will be back on again. I want to have more conversations once the car gets on the street, and you guys kind of start working through some stuff and figuring all that out. I'd love to have you back.
yeah, awesome.
That's been
Sweet.
fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jay, we'll talk soon.
All right, see ya.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, how fun.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That's why I love Jay. His brain is way bigger than mine, and he can explain stuff like that makes sense. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. I like the twin TorkStorms. I've never seen anything like that, but I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. And again, looks a lot like a turbo setup, or it's a centrifugal blower or whatever you call that.
Right.
So It just makes sense on that side. And I love the piping. Can't wait to get close to that car and look at it more. All right, we got to get rolling here. Just want to say thanks again for being our race car friends. Thank you so much for the folks that are making comments tonight. Comments are doing well. See you out there, Paul Snyder, still making comments. Thanks, buddy. And then for everybody else that shares and likes and all that kind of stuff, y'all, we appreciate you so much for doing all that you do for us. And thanks to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, who's going to be at PRI with us in our booth, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Y'all, big time thanks to everybody that's out there. And then the gentleman's agreement is simply this. We work hard. We do love doing this, but it takes a ton of time and a ton of effort. And we would appreciate it if you guys would hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching this at. Please do that for us. That's the gentleman's agreement. It's easy. We can't make sure you do it, but hey, listen, if we're going to do this, you do that, everything will be great in the world. Right? And then Power Tube TV, y'all rev up your engines with Power Tube TV, the ultimate destination for automotive entertainment. Stream it for free on the web or on your Roku or on mobile apps. And anywhere else you can watch a screen, you can find Power Tube TV. Catch replays of our show and exclusive content from us and other top creators. They also have a ton of classics like Pinks and Pastime, which is coming back in 2025, plus a ton of original new shows. Power Tube TV isn't just a platform. It's a community. Join the content creator development program, which is what we're in with them, and be a part of something special. Find more at watchpttv.com. Say that 4 times fast.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right. And then WAF Racing is a collective of engineers, racers, and hot rod enthusiasts who have come together in one place to create custom parts, tools, and electrical gadgets. With passions for racing, hot rodding cars and bikes, both classics and new, you just never know what they might be working on. Check them out at waf-racing.com and then check them out on social media, again, WAF Racing. So they are coming to PRI and they're going to set up and show off some of the new products in our booth.
Yeah, I'm pumped about having Chris at PRI with us.
Yep.
It's going to be really awesome.
Yep. And then Rovik said here, Bill at BTR Performance has got the new block set up and the machine work has started on the new power plant for the 67 Olds. Great things to follow. Parts are all in. Bryant Billet crank, comp cams, hydraulic roller, BAM lifters, Edelbrock BTR max effort ported heads, Victor intake modified by Brett Miller, custom Moroso pan, CP pistons, modified scat rods, T&D valve train, Innovators West balancer. The stump puller is going to be an awesome drag and drive motor. I can't wait.
Yeah, this new motor for Robic is going to be bad to the bone. Like,
yeah,
this dude's run 9s with a motor that he has said is, it's got a lot of beating on it, a lot of high RPM burnouts. I see he's in here in the comments saying, "Oh yeah, Olds power." That is for sure. It's a heavy car. It's a cool car. It's a cool dude. I'm a huge fan of this, and he's a big part of all the stuff that goes on at WAF Racing with all of their, products that they build for kind of. I'm not going to say they're solely carburetor guys, but they really lean into a lot of that with their carb tools and spark plug stuff, spark plug collectors, all that kind of stuff that they've got for all of that. And of course, Chris is not just a sponsor of our channel. He's also a drag and drive racer as well. So he's done Sick Week and Death Week and 666 and all that kind of stuff. So big time fans of those guys over there. And this for Rovic is going to be freaking awesome. And if you thought it was good burnouts before, just wait till this son of a bitch gets out there now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy.
Yep, the stump puller.
Yeah, that is for sure. So again, he moved up from 10s or from 12s to 10s into the 9s with a little bit of nitrous. And then I can only imagine, he said ultimately 850s is kind of his goal with this car, after he gets everything sorted and everything like that. So if there's anybody that can do it, it's him. And, he won our Road King award last year for driving 30,000 miles to do
Right.
drag and drive events across the country. So it's pretty
Yep.
crazy, man.
He put here in the chat our hashtag KCA, keeping carbs alive.
Yep. That's
And
exactly
also
right.
said no tires are safe. That is
Yeah,
right. We know that.
I know during 666, he actually had to buy a set of tires midway through the week. So it's going to be crazy. Speaking of 666, I see Josh and Mike in the backstage area. So we're going to bring them on here in just a minute. We got a couple things to talk about, but I do want to give them a heads up. So, dude, let's get to it, man. Let's talk about
All right.
Howard's Cam's community segment.
Yep. I will jump in here. Let me hit this video real quick and we will get rolling.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
And I want to give a shout out to Harris at Monoxide for doing the voiceover there. Great dude. Love that guy. But he just crossed 30,000 subscribers. And man, I'm going to tell you that kid is going places.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw that today as well.
Yep. Yeah, good job for him. Good on him. He's earned it for sure. He works very, very hard.
Yep. All right. Well, you guys know the Howard's Cam community segment is where we check out everything from the community. So cars, events, anything around the community. So Donovan Linwood has cut the cage out of his Mustang. Did you see that?
Blows my mind, dude.
Yeah. He won Rowdy Radio at Rocky Mountain Race Week, calls in a driver mod for Redwood Rally and has Marissa drive it, takes it home and cuts out the cage.
Dude, this car was fast. This car was fast, like real fast. It won Rowdy Radial in Rocky Mountain. Like this is a 5-second 1/8 mile, 8-second quarter-mile car. And so there's obviously a lot of conversations going on in the comments of this thing. And dude, I don't know if he's going 750 cage. He made a joke about going bracket racing. So is he pulling the cage out to go 1150s? Who knows? I don't know. This is pretty cool. I can't wait to see the build of this. But Matt Moore in that comments did say that's a lie. I did see the
order come through.
Order. Yeah.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. So congratulations to Donovan. This is a big deal, man. This is, that next step in building the car to go even faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then Matt Frost, you guys will maybe remember a couple of months ago, I think we talked about this, that he is looking at, since they're doing Mega Week, which is the 600 car craziest drag and drive to ever be hosted in the history of ever. And so he's not going to have anything to do in September. So he's talking about putting on a regional event. I'm really excited about this, to have that level of promoter step into regional events. And so he basically asked, for the 3-day event in September, what do you guys want? Do you want a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event, or do you want a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And he asked for comments. Obviously, let everybody know. But at what he had posted 7 hours. He had 70 comments. I think there were 40 comments in the first 2 hours of this thing going up. It was pretty wild. So it looks to me at this point, whenever I pulled this screenshot, 27 of 45 answers, 45, like I said, were pushing towards Friday to Sunday. But as folks, you think about it, if you do Thursday to Saturday, that gives you Sunday to get home. But now you've got to almost be off work Wednesday to make the trip.
Right.
So you're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, instead of maybe like Thursday, Friday of the week. But then you're dragging total ass when you get to work on Monday after listening and doing your stuff on Sunday. So
yeah, that's all right. Well, if he's already got Rocky Mountain Mega Week, are we going to have Rocky Mountain Mini Week?
Oh, dude, that's a heck of a name.
I'm just saying.
That's a heck of a name. Somebody tag Matt Frost and tell him that right now.
Yeah.
Mini week. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain Race Week, mini week. And the biggest thing with this is he's wanting to get back into Colorado with it. So I think that's a big plus. And, Vandermeer, I mean, dude, they're talking about if they get this deal closed at Vandermeer, could this be one of the first events? I know it wouldn't have the full facilities, but, build the track first and then let these guys race down it, do Vandermeer and Pueblo for a 3-day event. That'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, September in Colorado is going to be, that's going to be
gorgeous.
nice.
It was gorgeous in 23 for the last race week at Vandermeer. Man, it was amazing. It was beautiful. The weather was great. The scenery was beautiful. All the kind of stuff. Rocky Mountain Weekend. That's another good name.
Not bad.
Yeah. I do like mini week coming off the mega week. I think that would work well too. Thanks for that there, Ed Hohenberg. All right. Well, guys, let's talk to these dudes that are some of the craziest guys that are out there. This is one of the funnest things to do with Drag and Drive is to be a complete stranger and go spend a week with somebody in one of the most stressful environments that you can possibly have, which is a Drag and Drive in a fast car. So we have Josh Rich and Mike Smith on tonight. And just for a little bit of backstory, Mike made a post leading up to 666 asking, hey, I don't have a pilot. I would love to be somebody's co-pilot. If my car's not done, can I jump in with somebody? And Josh volunteered his passenger seat in his Colorado. So we're going to talk through that with these guys tonight and kind of see how did that work out? Because I'll tell you, before I bring them on, Dustin Prince and I did this, and it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. We did it the first year. We didn't really know each other. Second year, we and I'll tell the story later, but the second year we had an even greater time. So let's bring these guys on. They're obviously separate, so not like Jay and John. So the easiest way to do this is for when we ask like kind of a both question is for Josh to answer first, who's down there in that corner, and then Mike to answer. That's probably the easiest way to do that if that's cool for everybody. So please introduce yourself, tell everybody what's up.
Yeah. So can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Awesome. My name's Josh Rich. Here in central Kansas. Been drag and driving, several years now, and had a pleasure of meeting Mike for Route 66.
Yeah.
How about you? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm Mike Smith. I'm out of Pocatello, Idaho.
Nice.
I've been following it since I was a kid, but I did Death Week last year, and that's how it all got started. I literally just showed up, tagged along, essentially sick warded without a sick ward, and then once we got around to this one, I had buddies from Death Week that offered to have me come ride passenger, bought plane tickets, and then they each had life events that came up. So made a post, and Josh was the one that had a passenger seat that was willing to take me in.
Well, I want to talk about how that conversation comes up because you guys are wild. So, I mean, literally, even putting that out in the world is a big deal. So walk us through what's going through your mind. Like, are you hoping you find somebody, or are you hoping that maybe somebody doesn't take you up on that? Mike. Sorry,
Mike.
Okay.
I'm like looking at Josh. We're ready to go. Yeah, no, I bought plane tickets, and like the wife shot me a look, and she goes, "It says non-refundable. Are you going?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Don't care. Gonna show up." And the Hail Mary backup plan was a Penske truck, and I was gonna have to actually turn it in halfway through because you're only allowed to have a Penske truck for a certain amount of days per miles. So I was gonna have to turn it in, and then I was planning on just like going and buying a cot, sleeping in the back, do it up, just chase along, do whatever. And there was like I just went back and counted everything. There was 50 comments. There was almost 20 people that offered, but every one of them like not for anything. There was sick ward, and hey, you can come ride in my back seat. Hey, my Chris Paget. My wife and kids are coming along. They're doing sick ward, and we kind of got talking a little bit. And his boy was planning on riding in the passenger seat, and I was like, "I'll give it to him. I'll ride in the back." And that was hilarious. Like he eventually, and Josh was of course the last one to comment, and I hit him up and I said, "Hey, is this, what are we doing?" And he was like, "My normal co-driver, Dalen Cox, is he's gonna be doing sick ward. He's bringing his pickup. We're camping, which is what I did for Death Week." And I was like, "You guys are my guys. Let's go." And there we go.
How cool.
That's awesome. So starting out, first question here. Did you guys actually talk on the phone before meeting in person, or did you guys just message each other back and forth?
It was solely Facebook messages back and forth. There was no phone call.
I counted them. We corresponded total. Him and I all together 12 times.
Nice.
The 13th one was me sending him a video of the very first pass during test day.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But
All right, Josh, tell us a little bit about the truck, powertrain, how long you've had it, ETs, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I've had the Colorado probably 3-ish years. It's had a couple different drivetrains in it. We went from a stock little Ford Great LS with eBay twins, made like 500 to the wheels, to where it was currently up until last night when the motor got yanked out of it. It was a Texas Speed deal. It was 408 stroker, had a turbo 400, single Force Performance 85 mil. Made about 1,100 to the wheels. Pretty well maxed out that little baby turbo. It's completely back halved, so behind the cab is completely tube chassis. It's got a 10 Soldier 4-link setup, no leaf springs. But cab forward, it's all stock Colorado, stock struts, and Mike and I kind of played around with that because that's the biggest downfall to that truck is the stock struts, coilovers, whatever you want to call them, in the front of that thing. There's no control. So trying to put 1,100 down at the tree, this thing just, looks like a dolphin kind of going down the track for the first 60 foot. So that was one of our experiments. We were strapping the front down and Mike was behind the ratchets trying to get this thing sucked down to where it probably 60 foot a little bit better. But yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's just a little Colorado.
Did you say how long you've had it for?
About 3 years. I bought it from a buddy here in town, and it was supposed to be just a little shop truck to put around, 500 horsepower, nothing crazy, and it kind of escalated quickly.
Oh, nice. It never happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you win Race Week, Rowdy in Race Week?
Yeah. So this year's 2.0, we won Rowdy Radial, and then we won the Quick 16 heads up shootout on the last day on that tiny 26 850 tire.
Jeez. Nice. And going quarter mile, right?
That was quarter mile. We were really stretching the legs on that little tire, and they were shot by the end of the week. Probably should have just stayed on the trailer and called it a day other than competing that 16, but it was a blast. It was fun.
Yeah, you can't give that up, dude. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What kind of ETs is it running?
Mid to low 8s and then mid 5s in the 8th.
Man, nice. That gets down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
Awesome. All right, Mike, tell us a little bit about your automotive history and your own project car.
Yeah, no, I'm just a car kid. I genuinely I actually had to go back and think about it. My grandma's coworker's husband had a Hot Rod magazine subscription, handed down. I remember reading the very first one about this drag week thing. And I was like, oh my God, Dad, we got to go do this. And whatever. We never did build a car. We're not going to travel to the East Coast to do it. And even traveling anywhere, we're in the middle, but and so, traveling anywhere to do it, it never lined up. And even as Rocky Mountain Race Week first came out, I heard the name. That's right there. That's right next to us. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't quite close enough. So I wasn't able to hit it. But yeah. Currently run a small, do it myself, a small business where I go and do mobile oil changes, work on cars, and then just build stuff. And we don't have tracks nearby. So I've never been able to find one facet and build something for it. I have had drift cars and had to go chasing it around, had a drag car, and it was mostly for Mexico and all that stuff. And so it's just like, oh, okay, lowered stuff, lifted stuff, whatever, just all of it, all the cars.
How fun. Well, I think you made a post. What is this thing?
Oh, that is the one. That is what we are putting together. It's horrible. That is like essentially just off the trailer, trying to see if it was an inspiration.
It should have been, dude. That looks money.
Being the like, I guess the dream is to go do Hot Rod Drag Week. So everything is follow that class and studying it. Yeah, you can do the daily driver class and get into the bracket or do this or do that. The B gas has always seemed obtainable, and then keep going further. So what it will be soon-ish, hopefully, is B gas NA. All sick week. I was talking about how I had this little 383 that I was putting together, and got home, and one of the old buddies from around town goes, "Hey, I've got this big block sitting here. What do you think?" And major hang up is you got to have the big lettering for the gasser. You got to have these, you got to have gold leaf lettering down the side. And I couldn't come up with the name. No, I don't want Rambler or whatever. And he says big block, they call it the rat. And I'm like, oh, and so Radical Rambler is hopefully what it'll say.
There you go.
How it'll go.
Dude, I dig it. That's cool.
That's a long time ago. That hopefully the car looks a lot better now. I'm just horrible at taking pictures.
That's okay. That's the way it goes. Well, let's talk about the week, because again, that's why you guys are on here. I love the story of just out of nowhere, two dudes meet up to take on 1,300 miles. So walk us through the week. How was day 0 and the meetup?
So I think I didn't even realize it was bike at the time. I think I was in the staging lanes day 0 for, I don't know if we were testing that day or if it was day 1. But I think I was just sitting in my lazy boy lawn chair, scrolling on my phone, and then big burly Mike rolls up and introduce himself. And that was pretty much the first meeting on day 1.
So he pulled in, and I kind of watched. There was kind of a gaggle of people that all kind of flocked around, shake his hand. The big thing is that freaking wheel falling off day 4. Day 4. He's got the picture in the corner up in there. Like, wheel fell off. 1320 made it their picture, video, everything, right? Whatever, header picture. And so like there was kind of a little flock of people that wandered around, and I'd been out there for hours. And so I was like, okay, I'll let it die down. And you were walking up right behind me, Mike. Like you were right behind me with the camera, and I was like, oh, okay. And so you almost got, hey, I'm Mike, how you doing, on photo. And he kind of
awesome.
Josh doesn't talk, so he kind of gestures at the passenger seat, and I go and like literally wiggle my hips. And I'm like, all right, seems good. And then I was like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I'm just sitting. Okay. And so I just kept on wandering back and forth until it came time. And literally we didn't get teched in until they started running the test hits. And so in the tech line, we swapped it over, and that set us up. Like, I saw how the trailer was organized, and I went, okay, got that. Put the tires back in, kind of looked over everything. And yeah, I didn't want to hurt Josh's feelings at all, but I kept on staring at it and going, man, bare bones. Like, that thing is a Colorado with Colorado truck brakes on the front, drums on the rear. There's no sensors. As I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I was just like, oh my God, you're doing that much with this? But radiator mounted in the bed, turbos like just barely cut around a V-band through the grill. Like, don't cut it big or mount it out there or anything. Just that's good.
Yeah.
I need just enough clearance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So was there a moment, and when was that moment when you guys were like, we're glad we did this?
Man, I don't know if I had a moment. I think just when you get to the track after, especially driving, if you drive 200-300 miles, in a Kirky with, big header in your face and it's just obnoxious, it really drains you. So when you get to the track, the last thing you want to do is work on this thing. So I was super, super thankful for Mike, helping out, swapping fuel, changing tires. trying to ratchet strap the front down, I was super thankful. I don't even know what day that was. It was probably day 1 or 2 for sure.
Yeah. No, that was there's 2. The like make sure he's your people is we pulled up to Mocan and they were doing a test and tune night. And we kind of chuckled back and forth. And I was like, you gonna hit it? Like, we want to go test this theory of the ratchet straps or what? And I knew that I was egging it on. But he's just like, yeah. He was like, well, we'll see how much the tech card is. Well, however much it is, add $10. Like, however much you're willing to pay, add $10. I'll pitch in. And then it ended up being $15. We're both like, yep, for sure. Here we go.
Yep.
And so we swapped over the night before, set up. Dalen's setting up all the tent and getting everything like all ready over there. And me and him went and made, what do you think, 6-8 hits? Like it was
lot. It was a lot of extra wear and tear.
And that was like, oh, he's in it. And yeah, I like kind of had a little tab open for where the next U-Pole junkyard was the whole time, just in case something went rogue. And then I did always keep an open line. Like every day I'd go walk around the pits and be like, hey, glad to see you made it, for all the people that offered, because I flew out of Roswell. So I had like, if his truck broke and he's, I don't know, a couple hours from the house and he doesn't, and he wants to throw in the towel, I had to keep everything open. Like, hey, how you doing?
Oh yeah. Can I still jump in?
Yeah. Exactly. But
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Sorry. Follow up. Second part is the whole week. So they didn't do like real classes. They did classifications of your vehicle, and all week. He definitely didn't know, but I did go back up and talk to Tanya the very first day. And we had talked about whether it was like, who's going to put in for radial, who's going to put in for power adder, who's going to put in for Chevy, who's going to put in for this. And I just asked Tanya, and of course she isn't going to say anything, but she gives me this little thumbs up. And we put in for Chevy. And so we're standing in the awards in the bunker. It's hot. Been 9 days of driving around, and he's still got to get home. I get to go back to a hotel and hang out. And all of a sudden they go, and the Chevy classification goes to, and he turns around and goes, oh, we got it. I was like, yeah, I think so. But yeah,
that's awesome. Quickest Chevrolet, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Quickest person that said they wanted a Chevrolet. They wanted it to be called a Chevrolet.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Well, congratulations on that for sure.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that question, was there a time, and if there was, when was that, when you guys regretted the decision? Was there ever a moment you're like, man, this wasn't a good idea?
I don't. I mean, I'm pretty easy to get along with. So
yeah. Let me jump in for Josh. I talk as much as I'm talking on here in the truck. He'd be like putting on his headphones and hey, look, here's this. And he'd be like, and they just keep close. I'm like, all right. But and you immediately somehow telepathy picked up on it, Mike. The camping at the track. So Death Week, I was going and camping in the host hotel parking lot. I called myself security guard, just set up.
Oh, nice.
I have a rooftop tent on the back of the truck. So I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And like, while that was weird, like, sleeping in, I'm trying to remember. We stayed at the New Orleans in Vegas, and they had this little coned off area, but it's Vegas. So it's not the cleanest place ever. And I've just got the tent set up inside of in a parking garage. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. But that was, you immediately picked up on it. The being at the track, the night that we were in Tulsa or whichever, like these guys are turning in. It's like barely dusk. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I'm out wandered around, but that's not if there's a beer to be drank or a fire to be had, a car to be worked on, that's you got it nipped in the butt right away. Where's Voss to come in and say that he's
right?
Counselor?
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what that we pulled in. We went to dinner at the Big Texan in Albuquerque, and then I pull in the track. It's literally 10 o'clock. There's 2 people awake. I was like, what is happening here? Why does nobody have a fire? Because it's kind of chilly. Why does nobody have a fire and drinking beer?
Yeah,
you know, like I just want like 1 or 2 beers.
That's what we always say. when we get to the hotel, and it's
Yeah,
never that.
I just want one after another.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, so you kind of answered this earlier, like how you guys fell into a rhythm, like, but what was, who did what on the truck? Like, how did you guys fall into a rhythm? Did Josh say, hey, you change tires, I'm gonna pull the trailer and fill it with race fuel? Like, how does that work throughout the week?
I don't know that we even really communicated. It was just kind of got into a rhythm of things. The truck's pretty easy to swap. It's tires, fuel, maybe play with the tune up a little bit. It's pretty straightforward. When we swap fuels, I've got a little pump that you drop in the tank and pump the fuel out. And we didn't go and communicate like when the pump was running, and next thing we know, there's 20 gallons of fuel on the ground because we left the pump unattended. So yeah, we just understood, what we had to get done, and there was not a lot of communication. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, truck's easy. There was 5 things. He kind of, like I said, first day we walked through what it was going to be. He pulled in on ethanol, so it was already, no, you pulled in empty. So all we had to do was pour it in. But he kind of like picked up and gestured like, here's the pump, and then set it back down. And I was like, okay, got it, understand. Never been around anything this fast, especially for it. And so like I asked a couple questions like, hey, do we need to check plugs? Do we need to do this, do that? And he's like, nope, seems fine. And along the way, we did change plugs. The night pulling into Roswell, I got dropped off at the hotel because I had to check in. And so he rode out. And then the next morning I get out there, and I had my hotel friends and my camping friends. I had my hotel friends and my driving friends. So I had, crap, that's going to suck. The guy with the Zephyr wagon, I wish I had his name just looked up off the top of my head. I feel bad. Sorry if you're watching.
I'll look it up. Go ahead. Keep telling the story.
Anyways, he was my hotel friend. So he'd give me a ride out to the track in the mornings on the days that I couldn't find somebody else to take over a hotel. Miscommunications of the group of us from the beginning. Somebody, when they put my name on, confirmed every hotel. So the reservations couldn't be canceled, even if I called 48 hours a week in advance. So I was giving them like, hey, here's a reservation for a hotel. Put your credit card down. That way you're not billing my buddy. But anyways, yeah. So I finally show up and he's changing all of the injectors. I'm like, hey, that's my job. He's like, no, I got these. You change the spark plugs. You change this. You change that. And we got them turned over in 20 minutes.
Nice. Drew Williard.
There you go. Yep. Drew.
That's awesome. Sorry.
No, thanks for looking it up because I felt bad.
Well, hey, that's the way it goes. I do want to give a shout out to Reggie Moore and Scott Guthrie and Jason Schaefer, who are right now watching the show and camping on their way across America in the hot rods. I don't know if you guys have been following this. I love this story. Reggie left from Arkansas and has driven the Organ Grinder hot rod all the way to Formosa, California. They did a big, cruise night, drag night out there, and then now they're driving back. Scott Guthrie is driving his dad's Corvette, pulling a half Corvette, the American flag Corvette trailer.
Yep.
And Jason Schaefer's in the chicken coop. So super cool. Love it.
Yep. Scott says they're in the camping in the Walmart parking lot tonight.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen Reggie's comment. They're in Roswell eating tacos, just dodged a herd of elk, hit the cop car in front of us, just missed Scott's vet and Jason's car.
That's wild. Those dudes have all the fun. I'm telling you, they have all the fun.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have them on when they finish their trip to tell some of those stories.
Yes, for sure.
So tell us some adventure stories. Did you guys break anything, run out of gas, eat bad food, any kind of crazy, fun adventure stories?
As far as the truck goes, the truck worked flawless. No problems with the truck. I will blame my buddy Dalen's cooking. He doesn't say it was his cooking. It was maybe
everybody else ate the hamburgers too.
Whatever. Anyways, I think we were in Tulsa. It was the day before we raced. We were camping.
Mm-hmm.
Dalen grilled up some cheeseburgers, had a good time, 6 or 8 beers. That didn't contribute to the issue. But like 3 a.m, I woke up and just vomited everywhere at like 3 a.m, and I was hurting the next day. So, track went hot at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I was absolutely miserable.
His wife and kids show up because it's his anniversary.
Oh yeah, it was my anniversary. They did like a 5-hour drive down to come surprise me, and I was about a 2 out of a 10 that day. But other than that, I mean, the week went pretty good as far as no flat tires, nothing catastrophic really.
There was a 13-minute hiccup on the road. We pulled up to get some gas, middle of Oklahoma, have no idea where we were, and he noticed that the hitch or the parachute was hanging just like a couple inches further away from the tailgate than it had been all week. And he goes, "There's something wrong." And I pointed, and there's a weld broke, and like the whole back bumper trailer hitch, he's got tons of bracing on it, but it just ripped the side of a tube out. And I quickly Googled a couple shops. He filled up with gas. We all kind of ran around. Dalen was riding with us. He just sees a dude pulled up, brand new F-150, tag on it, climbs out in bib overalls. "Oh, you're from around here, right?" And hey, who's your muffler shop? Who's got a welder? And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go look at a drill press at this ran down old place." We pull up. I don't know. The guy that ran the place was just like, "Welder's over there. If it ain't plugged in, figure it out. Turn on the gas. Hood's hanging on it." And so yeah, it was literally 13 minutes from gas station to gas station. We welded it up, grabbed a chunk of. There was a heap, to go way elaborate. There's a heap of scrap, and so I wander over and ask the guy again. And he's just pissed, like, don't bother me. Yeah. And I was like, "Is this scrap?" And he's like, "Well, it's not my big scrap pile." And I was like, "Can I take something out of it?" And yeah, for sure. There's chop saw right there. So I make this little thing. He kind of starts hammering it. And we made a little patch to cover the tube where it had ripped out, welded it on. I'm like, put tacks on that where you can cut them easy. But he's selling the truck now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
That's
cares?
A star.
Yeah, that's right. Man, that's pretty crazy. Because that, how many miles was race week? 1,250 or something?
Yeah, race week was just over 1,200. And I think because I drove the truck from Salina, Kansas to Ozark Raceway, and then I had to drive it home from Roswell to Salina. So I think it was around 2,500 miles round trip for 666. And that 666 road is absolutely garbage. There are portions of that road that knock your teeth out.
Yeah.
So
there were some potholes that just destroyed some tires, man.
Oh yeah.
The folks with the low profile tire were just crying. Well, the reason I was talking about that was because also you have the 1,200 miles from race week. Now you've got this, you're probably 400 or 500 miles into. I think you're probably 300 or 400 miles into the trip at that point. So now you're 1,500 miles on this truck. Man, that's crazy. Salina, Kansas to Springfield's what? Probably 250.
Yeah, about 250, 300.
Wow. Yeah. No wonder that thing kind of wiggled itself loose. That parachute just hanging back there. Just
I kept on begging to take it off. The freaking trailer hitch would get caught underneath it. So I'm like, "Can I take this off yet?" And he's like, "Well, it's part of the trip, it's part of the rig." But yeah, no, that was if it wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have noticed. And if I would have taken it off, we probably wouldn't have noticed, and then the trailer would have been on the ground.
Yeah, and so that's what I was going to ask next. So that's part of the trailer hitch itself then. Is that what you're saying? Oh wow.
Yeah. We would have lost the fuel cell, the water box, and the hitch. We would have lost everything.
Possibly the battery.
Yeah.
Possibly the battery.
That'll maybe taking you 24 minutes to repair.
Maybe.
How fun. Well, let's talk about Mike, what's coming up for you? What's an event you got on your list? What's the goal there?
So the kids are super excited. I've got two little boys. I got a 7 and 4-year-old, and the kids are super excited about just wanting to go on one. And I don't want to sign up. I don't want to force the wife to take time off and come with me and do all the stuff. And so I don't want to sign up to haul two kids around in the back of the car. So I'm thinking, as of right now, Big Sky Race Week, truck, camper. I've got a truck bed camper. So we'll just go tag along. If I end up paying, I'll drive it down the strip with the camper on. It's tied down. But then I'm like, it's going to be ready for Six Smokies. I'm putting it in. They want all the gassers. We get our instant in if we want, per se. Yep. And so that's the game plan, is to do that one. And that one the wife wants to go on. So who knows who's in charge?
Well, she is. If you don't know, she is.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, Six Smokies is going to be really neat, especially so I do some stuff with Southeast Gassers with Power Tube TV, and we've been really leaning on them guys to come into drag and drive a little bit, because some of those, I mean, obviously they're car guys in a different level, but a lot of those guys have another car. A lot of those gassers wouldn't be good drag and drive cars, but they would they have other cars. So man, I would love to see some of those guys come over and really beat up on a bunch of drag and drive gasser guys.
So that's I've been talking about B gas for 3-4 years. And this year, Hot Rod Drag Week hurt my feelings, because I've had it billed as like, oh, well, if I get an 11-second average car, which still a fast car, but if I get there, I'm like in the running. I have a chance. And because somebody had come up, and it happened on Death Week. We had a guy that had a really, really neat Falcon, and they just valve train. You build a gasser, you got to make it rowdy, and so valve train beats them up. Somebody who does a hero pass 850. And then they break, second day, third day. And then, finally this year they did a 940s. There was all three of the top three were 940 averages.
Oh, ouch.
Now I have to go 2 seconds faster.
Yeah. Again, you've got to make the week though, man. You know how
no, but if you're going to dream, I'm not going to not show up, but it was like, if you're going to do it, try, But,
Yeah, I don't know. A low 11-second gasser with some big gnarly cam does great burnouts, high stall, and just let that thing eat, man. Burnouts for the kids, dude. That's what it's about.
Josh has heard it 100 times, and I know that I'm missing so many people. The hero car has the people that I've been introduced to, the people that I've got to see. Yes, it's built because blasphemy, was well documented. Yeah. But it's going to be a stick shift car because Guido. And if I had my way, I'd build a BOP. I've talked to Rovic. I've talked Rovic's ear off about like, hey, what's the one I need to build? I've never been around one. So if I had my way, it'd be BOP, stick shift, and no trailer for Larry Larson.
Why do you hate yourself, man?
It's a horrible scheme. So the trunk lid actually comes like way down almost to the bumper. And so I took that's like one part that is absolutely finished. It's done 100, in my brain anyways, is trailer fenders that are C-notched in. So the back of it will look like Baja. Like I'll be carrying two drag tires mounted, strapped down to the trailer or to the trunk lid.
Oh, that'd be cool. I like that. That'd be kind of neat.
It'll be done. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So speaking of what's left on the car?
Everything. It is there. Like it is all there, but it's just a matter of getting some miles, getting some stuff, and then signing up. The sellout. We can talk about it. The sellout in 2 minutes thing.
Yep.
Hopefully just more exposure, get you closer to it. And you guys saying, hey, this one's coming up next week. This one's coming up. Then I can sit around and hit refresh every 2 seconds and see what happens.
Yeah.
Get a herd of people on it. There's nobody else. I don't know of anybody else in my town that is doing it. So I can bring all my car buddies over and we'll set up and hit refresh and then put my name in when it bites.
There you go.
It's really fun. Like we kind of in the same situation where I live. There's not a lot of drag and drive guys, and the ones that are, I'm friends with. So everybody else, we should all do that same thing. Just come over to the house. Well, we need to go to somebody else's house for internet. Jump on there and just do. Everybody hang out and make it a party. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Whatever you'd want to call it. What do they call the fantasy league? Or something, right?
Draft, whatever I don't know. I don't do stick and ball sports, but
exactly. I stumbled on it 3 times.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this new truck because this thing is crazy. Josh, I'll have one question. I'm gonna see if I can put this thing in big. Dude, is this part of the frame that's here in the front of this thing? Like, is that the only piece of factory frame left? Like, and what's the story there?
Yeah, so this is a chassis, a truck that a good buddy of mine, Rod Guy, started building. It kind of started to show off his fab skills, and it kind of escalated quickly and eventually morphed into a race car, like a full-blown race car. He wanted to keep it leaf sprung and stock location, control arms in the front for an S10. It'll fit some of the true street classes, and yeah, it's going to be pretty wild.
So the front done like that is more. I wish I had a better picture. We'll talk about these other pictures. I'm sifting through. Because why leaf spring is another question I have. But so the front, and I wish people could see this. It's probably small on the screen, but this piece of frame here on the left picture, that is to keep the factory location. It doesn't necessarily have to be like 12 inches of the factory frame on the front for some classes, which I'm sure there's some goofy classes.
Yeah, there's some goofy rules, but yeah, it was mainly to help locate the front control arms and keep the style of the S10 suspension. It's all tubular A arms, long travel stuff.
That's cool.
It's going to be pretty wild.
You sure you don't want to make that change to struts?
No, I'm good.
No, we'll pass on that. So I thought this picture on the right kind of told the story here, but the power plant from the Colorado is going in this S10, right?
Yes. The 408's going in the S10. Rodney and I got the motor yanked out last night. The tranny actually got yanked out last weekend. I put it in a buddy's truck so he could go compete in a no prep race because he grenaded his. So I converted his Power Glide truck over a Turbo 400 truck overnight so he could go race. So, but yeah, we got the motor yanked out last night. Maybe this weekend we'll throw it in the S10, finish welding out the turbo kit before we rip it all apart and get it painted.
So let's look at that. Is this what the setup will look like?
Yeah,
like,
that essentially
I feel like the first picture and this picture are way different timelines.
Yeah. So this is mock-up motor with a Holley high ram that Rodney was going to use with his setup. Turbo kit and turbo will essentially be the same. The only thing that'll really be different is we'll use my Titan Texas Speed intake that's set up for air to water. But yeah, it'll have a 98 millimeter force performance turbo. Wow. And then the turbo kit that Rodney fabbed together.
That's crazy, dude. Well, why leaf springs?
Just because. Make you ask why. No real rhyme or reason.
Well, and I mean, listen, leaf spring stuff's been real fast. I mean,
oh yeah, look at what Doug Cook's car in the Nova still leaf sprung.
Yep.
Into the sixes.
Sixes, yeah. So I mean, like, there's no reason not to. It just with this level of chassis, typically you go some kind of crazy 4-link or what,
right,
and all that kind of stuff. So, but I dig it, man. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can always cut it up and 4-link it later if we want to.
Yeah. Man, boring.
Yeah.
There's no fun in that. Well, the interior, dude, this looks like an amazing build. All the parts and pieces are really, I mean, it just looks top notch, man. Good job.
Rodney's crushing the sheet metal work. He's a phenomenal sheet metal guy. He did all the chromoly work, and he's killing it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then, sorry, I snuck this other picture in here. This is, of course, the Colorado on 666. The Stafford Museum was one of the coolest things we stopped at. Even outside, I didn't do the tour inside, but the outside was really fun. Let's see what else we got here. ET goals for that thing, man.
I'd like to do a 7-second average. Complete a race week with a 7-second average. I think that'll be doable. Last time we had that thing on scales, the S10, it was at, I think, 22 or 2,300 pounds with the drivetrain in it. So if we could be, 3,000, right around that 3,000 mark, we'll be 700 pounds lighter than the Colorado.
Wow.
So we'll be able to shave some weight, be able to make a little bit more power with that big turbo. So sevens ought to be doable.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Which event is your goal to debut the new truck?
First weekend in April for the circuit would be ideal. If we can get off the wait list. I got registered late, but we're on the wait list. If we get in, would love to do the circuit, and then we're obviously in for a mega week for sure.
Yeah, Mega Week. I can't wait. And the circuit too. That sounds like a cool event.
Yeah, it seems all right.
Yeah, I think I know a couple guys helping put that
Yeah.
one together. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
something
yeah.
out.
Yeah, we'll
Nudge,
send a
nudge,
message
wink,
to
wink.
those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the wait list grows daily, obviously, but
Oh yeah.
like we tell everybody, man, keep working on your shit. And we haven't had to turn anybody away. We probably should have last year, just because we were over our number, and that cost me. But we're willing to pay it to because dude, folks are gonna fall out. Like people are gonna make one pass on day one and be like, well, I blew my shit up. So
Mhm.
that's what's gonna happen. So by day two, you're fine. That's typically the way it goes. I want to say thanks for coming on tonight. Where can people follow y'all? Where can people see all your adventures and stuff like that?
So if they want to add me on Facebook, they're welcome to. They can go in and follow the shop. It's Flairside Performance. We'll try to do some more updates as far when we get the S10 moving along. But yeah, they can get a hold of me there if they want to follow along.
Nice.
And I'm horrible. I mean, you guys added me to Race Car Friends with a picture of my kids, and that's one of the things you're like, make sure you look like a car guy. And I'm like, I guess the beard counts, but yeah, I'm horrible. I'm gonna get started on something, then I'll post it in the Race Car Friends group and be like, hey, come follow me, see what's going on. I don't know. We're in winter, as that picture shows. My 2-post lift is outside, so yeah. Then and I prefer it for most things, but man, it's like there are times where it's like, I'll give it a day. We'll see if the snow melts, or I'll bust out the propane torch next week and burn the ice off of the concrete. But
yeah, that's crazy. You guys live in those kind of climates, man. I don't know how you do it. Don't know how you do it.
Yeah, you just put stuff away and then you ride snowmobiles. That's
Yeah, well, hey, there you go. I could probably get into some of that. I don't know.
heck yeah.
All right. Well, again, y'all, thank you very much. I want to stay in touch. We will. You guys follow us. We'll follow you. All that kind of cool stuff. I want to be definitely kept up to date, but I want to have you guys back on. I want to hear what's coming 2025, all that kind of cool stuff. So when you have updates, man, please let us know.
Heck yeah.
Well,
I actually cut in on Josh. I sent him a message last week and I was like, hey, so if your builder doesn't, if your buddy isn't going to come along, like, let me know. I'll ride with you. And
that is one good question. How many days after the event did you not talk to each other?
Oh man, I don't even know.
I got my phone right here. Let's see real quick. It wasn't too long. I waited. I told him, I was like, well, message me when you get home. And I waited 2 or 3 days and eventually was like, hey, see you post on Facebook. I'm like, you made it home, huh? But
I was probably still asleep.
oh, yeah. Oh, no, I sent him so there was supposed to be an Elvis Presley's abandoned thing. And the week that it was supposed to be abandoned in Roswell at that airport. And we were all kind of looking around for it. And VinWiki put up a video saying that it had moved. It had sold and moved like a couple days before we got there. So that was 3 days later. It really wasn't too bad on us, I don't think. But
That's cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much again. I appreciate y'all coming on.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hang on, Mike. You said on day 0, like, I got a whole bunch of edit of the Colorado put together. We got a whole bunch of film of it. How soon? And I know that we're not the only ones, so there's probably a bunch of coming down the pipeline stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say tomorrow, but I can't do that because that stuff's easy, really, pretty much. Because the way I shot it, so I would think maybe Friday or early next week, and I'll move it to the top of the list to get it.
No, and it's not necessarily his. It's all
I
of
wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't even thinking. I could have had it done for tonight. We could have watched that. That'd have been a great way to lead in. Yeah.
No, and it's like it's not just his. You were right there. Like you were within a minute of me being like, "Hey, by the way, I'm Mike," and
that's awesome.
And then you popped up, and I kind of stepped back and was like, "Hey, by the way, we had talked on Facebook. You and I had talked on Facebook, so it was like, oh, by the way, I'm the guy. He picked me up, and so
how cool.
Been looking for videos. I got him. Jesse does a quick one on day 4. I was like, hey, interview this guy. He's going to be famous someday. So
Well, dude, he's fast enough to be for sure.
that's for sure.
Yeah, y'all have earned it. All right, guys, thank you so much. We're gonna close this thing out. If you guys want to hang out backstage, Jay's backstage. He's back on. We'll talk for a few minutes after the episode is over and just kind of hang out for a second. But let us close this thing out.
Yep.
Dude, what a fun show tonight, man.
Yeah, tonight was actually really good. I think everything flowed really well and had a lot of fun conversations.
Yeah, and we have lately not been we haven't been having a lot of guests just simply because there's been so much news and all the stuff that has been going on in the community and things like that. But I'm excited to get back into this rhythm. We're already working a couple weeks ahead to figure out who's going to be on for next week. We messaged Graham Hayes. Hint, somebody tag Graham Hayes in this. Tell him to listen to this. I'd love to have him on, tell some stories. That was kind of a suggestion on your end. That's a great name to have on here. And then we're going to have what's his name from Excess Power from the battery company?
Yeah, I think Remy.
Yeah, Remy. Going to have him on. Eric did some photography work for them for their PRI booth, so it's going to be kind of cool. And we haven't really ever dove into battery needs and voltage and all the stuff that's required for that, because I would think as that kind of company, you're looking at a drag and drive community going, hey, how can we use that community to better our products and extend the life of these things? And how do they deal with vibrations and all that kind of stuff? So anyways, dude, I feel like I've talked all night, man. Do you want to lead us out?
Yeah, I can do that. All right. As always, we've had great chat going all night, so appreciate everybody, all of our race car friends for tuning in for almost 2 hours now. So appreciate you guys keeping everything going, keeping the chat going. And like always, we can't do this without our sponsors: Summit Racing Equipment, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Perform-Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. All right. See you guys. Sweet. Dude, what a great show.